Wewe anatoroka anaenda wapi? Barnabas Muganda na nani? Rafiki yako? Kuja hapa mzee. Kuja hapa sasa hii. Kaa chini. Barnabas. Kaa chini. Kebuka chini wewe.
I'm hiking around this place called Soboiga in Bore, Meru County. I'm sitting in a seasonal river. It's seasonal because there is no water in this place. People have destroyed the environment. People have really destroyed it to the extent that the rivers that were there, they are no longer here. They no longer come. Even if it rains, there is no water, there is nothing. And so guys, we need to do something about this. We need to stop deforestation. We need to stop cutting down trees. We need to mind the future generation. 50 years to come, our kings, your kings, my kings, what will they meet here? What will they enjoy? They can sit down and enjoy the comfort of sitting down under a shade of a tree. So please, take care of your generation, take care of your grandchildren, and it will cost you nothing. Just plant one tree in a year. It's enough and you're set to go. As my friend says, nature never forgives. It will hurt you back more than you hurt it. So please, don't wait for that punch back from nature. Do something and nature will always give you a type hug. It will respond. It will restore back these rivers. It will restore back the rains in this area. Like for example, we are expecting rains, but they are no longer here. Why? Because we've destroyed nature. So please, let's take good care of the environment. It costs you nothing, but the effect of it is immensely high. So please, see you next time. Bye.
Hey pals, this is your man, your one and only Byron Adera, ex-Kenya Special Forces operator, pioneer, security expert, consultant. Whoa, many hats. This is not going to dampen the new kid on the block, and that's the BA Challenge. And so the BA Challenge is your favorite activity, and this is the home of enjoyment as regards fitness, and that is both physical and mental fitness. But of course, what we are taking on and which has locked step with the BA Challenge is the environmental conservation. And so this is absolutely critical. Trust me, it came in inadvertently because as we went out there to just enjoy ourselves and spread the good gospel of fitness, which is health and physical physical fitness and mental fitness, which is really primary to us. You know my story, you know the stories of other veterans out there, you know the story of actually lots and lots of members of the society that are going through, serious ravages as regards mental health. So that is critical. But as we went on doing these activities, we definitely interacted with the environment. I mean, all these things are done in places that are interesting and, things that we would actually want you to go there to have a sight to see. But some of those sites became unsightly. And we thought about it and we said, if we don't take care of our environment and we don't actually want to see the change that we actually really want to see, then we have got to be part of that change that we want to be. And so we said the environmental angle has got to have some central place in exactly what we do. And so as we interacted with Olorgesailie prehistoric site, the shock on us was that this environment has become a graveyard of abandoned good news, which is the conservation of that environment itself. I mean, the flora and fauna in that space were absolutely interesting. As we struck out at dawn, just by the gate side, we ran into animals. I mean, wild animals. That's the dik-diks, hyenas, there's giraffes in that environment. But what a sad news we ran into. large tracts of cleared areas, and thanks to human activity, you can pretty much put an age to those trees that are really predominantly shrubs, unless you actually inching up towards the hills, because those are difficult to reach and it takes quite some effort to actually get there. But of course, determined human beings who are ill-intentioned have pretty much gone into that environment and cut down trees. And for what? Charcoal burning, and they sell that for a few hundreds of shillings that they put in their pockets. But then the effect of just that activity means that a lot of humans stand to suffer the ravages of environmental changes or climate change, and of course global warming. But of course that place will be quite unwelcoming and not desirable of any visitation of this kind, or for you who wants to get there. So here is to you the sites that we ran into as we were hiking up, loads of heaps of charcoal that have been burnt, out of living trees that have been cut down to have people some few shillings in their pockets, and a few people for that matter. The BA challenge is back here on our route back to the base camp at Olorgesailie prehistoric site. You can pretty much see what's going on. This used to have been a charcoal harvesting site, and as you can see, it's old. Going by the sign here, or the human interaction with this place, you can see it's not recent. And so you can pretty much, if you look around, you look at the trees, the dead trees, they're just shrubs popping out of the ground, looking grotesque, like hyenas in a crisis meeting. But the trees are in some crisis meeting, by the way. The dead ones are mourning the souls of the trees that they carried before. And as if you look around, they're just purely shrubs, young trees, shrubs that are struggling to come up. And so that's a demonstration of people having butchered this environment. So it's fairly, feasible that if this activity goes on, we'll have bare hills. This is a fantastic site to be at, but the hills will be bare, and that's quite serious effects, on the environment itself. And so the protection infrastructure have got to realize that the reality on the ground is such that the individuals are depleting the tree cover, the vegetation cover. But if you go up the hill, you can see the dark, shoulders of the mountains. That's demonstrative of some thicker cover. And by the way, the evidence we got today when we did run into the individuals that are burning charcoal is such that they are now harvesting bigger trees. So as you go up the hills, you find bigger trees. And those bigger trees have taken time. If you are to be a botanist, by the botanical age of these trees, it takes like 60, 70 years for them to come of age. So cutting down one means that to replace that, we've been knocked back 60, 70 years. Even if you were to do some afforestation today, it will take that time. So if this activity goes on, and it means that we are time barred. Efforts have got to be taken now, if not yesterday. And so what Team BA does with regards to environmental preservation and conservation efforts, we are weeding guys off that bad business so that, we have a world that we can live in better, bigger. Ladies and gentlemen, and thanks to, the hike. As I said, the hills are expansive. It's about 13 kilometers to get to the tip of the highest, basically, chain of hills at Olorgesailie. And as we walked on, we literally ran into those butchers of the ecosystem. Guys who had cut down trees and they were in the process of packing, the burnt charcoal into bags. And here is how it went down. Hey. See what we got here. Gentlemen doing the nasty business of butchering the environment. Majama, ni aje? Hii inakubaliwa kweli na serikali? Mbona mnaifanya? Why are you doing it? Hey. And what are we doing? Ni kushikwa, kuwekwa pingu na kupelekwa mahali? Unaitwa nani? Barnabas, jina ingine? Uganda. Na huyu anatoroka anaenda wapi? Barnabas Uganda, na nani? Rafiki yako? Kuja hapa mzee. Kuja hapa sasa hii. Kaa chini. Barnabas. Kaa chini. Kebuka chini wewe. I want just to talk to you. Na nikwambie, in the environment, if you don't take care of the environment, it won't take care of us. Unasikia? Yeah. Nyinyi kukata mti hapa inamaanisha kuna maji nakosekana mahali pengine. Okay? If you cut down a tree here and you make charcoal out of it, someone else somewhere is going to suffer. Okay? You've heard of floods inaua watu. People die because of floods happening elsewhere. Right? Yeah. And it's because of illegal activities like what you're doing here. Okay? Yeah? So ukichoma makaa hapa, someone half a world away is going to suffer for it. And including yourself. Ile pesa unapata kidogo, the little money that you get out of this trade is cannot be compared to the level of suffering of so many other people elsewhere, including yourself. Are you happy if your kids will inherit a world that's not livable? Mahali hawezi ishi. Jua sasa, temperatures zinaongezeka. Unaanza kupata maugonjwa skin, cancer, vitu kama hizo. There's a lot of maugonjwa sahi in the world we live in today. Why? Because of activities zetu. Unaelewa? Yeah? So, it's not just about kuomba msamaha, but nyinyi kukoma. You must stop what you are doing. There's other things that you can do that are better. Ndo upate maisha ama livelihood, okay? But not doing the wrong things, which will not make it, which will not make the world a better place for everybody. You understand? That is not a good thing to do. So mimi ningekuhimizia, usingoje mpaka serikali wakuja wakushike wakufunge. Wewe na kuhimizia sahi, make sure that you talk to your friends, talk to your people, be an ambassador. Tell everybody who's doing this business that we can do some other things. Vitu zingine zenye zitatu saidia kimaisha, but not kuharibu environment. Sawa? Cause kuna miti. Unajua hata Dr. Liki alikuwa pale akidiscover wale binadamu walikuwa naishi huku so many years ago. You understand? Kama kina Dr. Liki ange expose mahali, maybe atungekuwa hapa. But because now we are here, tunapata activities kama hizi kifanyika, it's not right. Sawa? So hizi vitu kwanza tutachukua zile vitu zenyu tunapelekea chief ya hapa. Na tunawapatia chief majina yenu na tuseme nyinyi ndio mnachoma makaa hapa. Na serikali ndio mtafutwe. Okay? Sawa Barnabas? This is not right. Na maybe wewe utaenda uombe chief msamaha, umwambie chief, mimi nitakusaidia kwa hii kazi. Kutoka leo mimi ndo nitakuwa naenda kipao ya mbele. Nasaidiana na KWS protection ya hapa, management ya hapa na kupeleka hii habari. You will be an ambassador spreading the news against charcoal burning. Okay? Kukata mti na charcoal burning. Okay? Sasa, do you assure me of that? Unaniashua? Utafanya? Come up. Let's do a handshake on this one. Let's do a handshake on this one. Sini safi baba. Kwenu ni wapi? Vihiga. Unatoka Vihiga kukuja kuchomea watu makaa hapa Olorgesailie? Unatoka Vihiga all the way from Vihiga to come and burn the trees here? Vihiga huko kuna nafasi ya kufanya vitu zingine zinazokusaidia kimaisha. Ama hata Nairobi, you can go anywhere, but hapa usikuja hapa kuchomea. Inafaa upeleke sifa mzuri. Ukitoka Vihiga, peleka sifa mzuri, si sifa mbaya. Si ni kweli baba? Okay? Do the right thing. My dad always told me, always do the right thing. Doing the right thing is very important. Okay? Mimi ningependa kutoka sahi. Unisisikie unafanya na nitachukua namba yako niwe nikupigie unani update. I'll have your number, you have mine. You'll keep updating me. I've converted individuals. Nimewaambia wasikate na wamechange. Na tutapata vitu zingine za kimaisha, za kujisaidia kimaisha better. I'll personally commit myself to ensure that you get a better job elsewhere other than burning charcoal. Okay? Be a challenge, and be a challenge has been at it for the past 3 hours now. We are hitting the peaks. This is Olorgesailie prehistoric site hike. Whoa, we've just left Homo erectus down there. But up here, the view is amazing. Up that way is Lake Magadi, and you can see, man, the view is amazing. The environment probably struggling thanks to the tools I'm carrying here. And we have made fishers of men out of this activity. These are the tools that are used to butcher the environment. And as you've seen down the road, charcoal burning, for sale. And that's the product of what you see. The deforestation that's taking place is at an amazing rate. And you suffering out there is because of these small-time activities. And so the environmental angle is very central to the BA challenge. As far as we do our hikes and as much as we do them, we also take with us the environmental gospel. So if you don't take in the environment, as we say, as my son says, Billy, he's not here today, it won't take care of us. And so with us, who's joined the BA family, is a member of the bad group that's been burning charcoal on this, in this part of the country, but who's sworn to now be a fisher of the other men who are doing bad things, and is going to spread the good gospel of environmental protection and preservation. He's ditched his tools and he said, take them away. But we're going to give them to the authorities, and we're going to get them to understand that this is now going to be a critical element in the environmental protection angle. I ask you to come here and enjoy the prehistoric site. The museum is amazing. Man, if you hadn't heard of Olorgesailie prehistoric site, trust me, Dr. Leakey and his ilk spent a bit of time here studying our forefathers, the Homo erectus, and the bones are lying easy out there for you to see later. But hey, enjoy the site. Lake Magadi, Olorgesailie, the peaks are gonna be awaiting us, and off we go for the last stretch. And so, you know, literally we said to make this world a better place, we have got to seek for connections. And as Margaret Whitney did say, when we seek for connections, we restore this earth to wholeness. Our seemingly separate lives become more meaningful when we realize how necessary we are to each other. And like they did release Barnabas in the biblical days, we had this Barnabas stand his ground, and we convinced him to let go of his bad habits and of course bad practices for that particular matter of cutting down trees just for the sake of getting a bag of charcoal and a few shillings in his pockets. And Barnabas for sure did ditch all his equipment, and he said, come on, have them from today henceforth, link me up with the authorities and do whatever you want to do to make sure that I'm going to have different livelihood elsewhere. And thanks to our hearts and the BA challenge that's here to pretty much welcome anybody and everybody on board, we said, fine, we're going to link you up with it, but as long as you assure us that you're going to be a fisher rovman. This is one guy who's been dropped into that good silo of an environmental conservation campaign. And you never know, this is going to be a huge gospel. There's 15 of them that are in that mountain, pushed to do that business by other people who are benefiting from the same, who drive their pro boxes up to pick burnt charcoal in gunny bags and sell them away. So it's a serious cartel, deeply entrenched, and what they do in that mountain is absolutely horrible. So we walked on with Barnabas, and when we hit a grave where cut trees are being fried and probably made into charcoal, we did go down, get down to business, and we messed it up just so that we make nonsense out of this trade. We do our part, so we wish you also do your part. Check it out. So naona ingine pale. That's another one, man. Tuende tuichimbwe. Let's take action, man. Yeah, because you guys can take a little break as the BA team rests. So guys, as we correctly said, man, this is another one, a graveyard of trees. This is where graves are, this forms the grave for many trees that have been butchered over time. And Barnabas, you're saying this is one of you guys, the one that mulikuwa nae pale. Yeah, so then if it's still alive, then we dampen it. So tuichimbue, ndo zikufe. Yeah. So we have to do something so that the trees, much as they've been cut down, my friend, we make sure that this doesn't happen. Okay? And for your friends, you keep telling them the reason why to kufanya hii. Sasa, so let's make it happen. Tuifungue kabaga hapo ndo nini isichomeke. This might seem like a drop in the ocean, but we do this, we are making nonsense out of the lifeless trees that are buried herein, because they won't be effective charcoal at the end of the day. They need that very seal-proof and environment for it to burn effectively. So this was freshly formed up, and Barnabas is here. His friends ran away, but one of his friends, what's his name? Ivanas, huh? Ivanas. So this is Ivanas's gravesite that's holding lifeless trees herein, and this could produce like 18 bags of charcoal. Each they're selling for how much? 800 shillings. So this is a little shy of 20,000 shillings, but ladies and gentlemen, that's not what we must pay as a price to have an environment face up to innumerable challenges as regards, effect of global warming and just the nastiest of environmental degradation, implications. So Baba, as you promised, umeacha na hii biashara. Umeacha. And you're going to be with us. I promise I'll look you over for a job. Kazi ingine lakini si ya kuchoma makaa. Nuendelee kuhimizia watu wengine wasichome makaa. Okay? That's good news. Wacha tuifufuiue alafu tuendelee. Ladies and gentlemen, and sure as Jesus made little red roses, when we were coming back, part of the heaps that we'd hit earlier and where we had some gunny bags prepared, and seemingly there was human activity that probably, scattered when they got wind of, getting up the hill. And I think as they probably have learned to do due to conditioned fear of punishment, we didn't find the gunny bags. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is Team BA on our route back to the base camp. As you can see, we were here before, and what you can clearly see is that there's a hide and seek game that's played here. Clearly we left gunny bags here that the guys are using to pack all this charcoal for, before they get taken away by, it's a very well-oiled engine. Cartels come here, the lorries, and they pack this away, and it's all far away from this area, Olorgesailie. Primarily the guys here don't actually benefit from this. So there's middlemen, there's the guys at the bottom end. So the taking away of the gunny bags that we left here before we went up and burnt some, and of course the guys that we got there that were in the business of producing and consolidating more charcoal, two ran away. One has been converted into a serious guy who's going to be taking on this conservation effort. So as you can clearly see, the gunny bags being taken away ideally means that the men that ran away got here, took their tools and other equipment, gunny bags included, and dashed away. So a hide and seek game that's going on. So if conservation efforts and of course the enforcement of zero tolerance to charcoal burning doesn't take place, and of course the enforcement doesn't get to serious levels, then the hide and seek will continue and the environment stands to suffer even more. So this has got to be treated with the seriousness it deserves. This is just one of the many sites that we have seen. BA is exposing this because if we don't take care of the environment, it won't take care of us. I can be happily enjoying a good breathing, good air, good environment half a world away. But this will impact the universe. And so no one is safe. You and I have got to join hands to take care of the environment. And so it's a demonstration of some cat and mouse, kind of game, hide and seek that's been happening up the hills of Olorgesailie. And I think that's reminiscent of anything else in the whole bad idea of environmental, degradation that's happening elsewhere. So this is a mirror of what actually does happen elsewhere. So if the relevant authorities are not keen on investing in systems, methods, ways and means of protecting our environment, and it's down to some hide and seek games like we did run into, trust me, the environment will not survive. And when it doesn't survive, you who's swinging on some leather chair in an air-conditioned room half a world away stands to suffer. You who's thinking, oh, I don't need to know about Olorgesailie. By the way, I'm not interested in Homo habilis or Homo erectus because that's what the Olorgesailie prehistoric site, is known for. Trust me, what happens here will pretty much affect a lot of other things that happen elsewhere. They say no mistake on earth is ever private and personal anymore. They are both public in impact and they are pretty much very huge in terms of the large-scale effects if they actually happen in large scale. And so this is a rallying call to whoever is involved in the critical business of environmental protection and everybody else like ourselves and yourself who can speak out when wrong things are happening, to actually take up arms and fight the bad things that happen to the environment. And look, good people out there, environmental protection or conservation is not a game that it's only for a few individuals or people like me who are passionate about wanting to live here, because this place is going to be unlivable in several years to come. You cut down one tree, like the ones that we find existing at Olorgesailie, the effect on that flora means that we are set back so many years. It takes probably 60, 70 years to get a mature tree like what we saw there. They're big acacia trees. And those ones, the only evidence of their existence was some tree stumps that are springing out of, the darkness as we're walking in, or springing out of the bushes, sometimes in our shrubs, like hyenas in a crisis meeting. But of course, these trees are in some kind of crisis meeting as well. And the crisis is caused by human existence or human activities that are absolutely very negative if you consider their impact in terms of what they do to the environment. So think about your actions. If you don't speak out, then you are saying yes to someone butchering the environment elsewhere. And the sum total or the effect is such that the giraffes that are there, the hyenas, and probably other animals that pretty much packed their skins, I don't want to say packed their bags, and left that place, is because of the encroachment of the human race in that ecosystem, and of course the destabilization of that ecosystem by human beings. You do that and we lose the fauna, the beautiful animals that basically play a critical role in just the ecosystem balance in all the spaces that we interact with. And and we ran into, I think, nature's best kept secret, weaver birds. And you need to see these nests. The members or the owners of those nests were away at that particular point in time. But think about it. Because of the ravages of that environment in the first place. You cut down trees, the biome that exists right there is disrupted in mega ways. Be it the unseen insects, be it like those weaver birds that were away to probably go look for food for their young ones, or just to feed themselves so they're able to protect and move on with the business of life. That is the effect that you have on the environment when you are thoughtless in the way you interact within this environment in a way that is not sustainable for the human race, by the way, most critically, and of course the sum total of the flora and fauna that's critical for the balance of nature. See what we got. Hey, this is Byron Adera, and Team BA have done an amazing job. And we are at Olorgesailie prehistoric site. The hike has been amazing. We've hit the peaks. We're on our way back. We literally meters to go. I know I'm now looking like a Christmas tree, disheveled all over the place as a bird's nest. I'm talking about a bird's nest. Nature's best kept secret is a weaver bird's nest. Look at that, man. And this is exactly what nature's gonna miss in the coming years if this site suffers the degradation, environmental, catastrophe that we're talking about here. And that's people cutting down these trees or such trees to make charcoal out of them. What this show has exposed, or what this hike has exposed, is that wanton destruction of the environment. And for what? Few shillings inside the pockets? No, that's not gonna happen if we care about the environment. And it's all about the gospel. It's all about taking people out of that business and talking about the people that we've made fishers of other men to get them out of that habit. So why we impounded this, and we have tagging along in the BA family. The newest member today is Barnabas, who said, I drop all my tools, I've trashed my equipment that I'm using to cut down trees, and I'm gonna be the guy who's gonna preach against the same. So here's to the weaver birds. Probably they're going out to hunt for food. But if this was cut down, look at what the environment is gonna go with. The biome here, the flora and fauna that needs to thrive in this environment is gonna be affected by human activity. And that's cutting down those trees. May put some shillings into your pockets, but then what does it do to nature? And if you screw nature over, nature's gonna fight back. And that's BA. Do the same elsewhere and you never know. Whatever you do here is gonna have a ripple effect elsewhere. And that's the news about environmental protection. Looks like the rip's on later. I'll come back to visit you guys. And hey, life equal order. That is what's written on a huge boulder that's sitting in Olorgesailie. That's the name of the river. But the only sign of the existence of that river is a puddle of water that's, has so much sign of visitation by all sorts of animals, be it domesticated animals, goats, cows, sheep, that we pretty much found along the way, but also the wild animals that exist in that area. So as you go into the valley and out on the other side, you are sharply reminded of possible existence of that water flowing down that river at some point in time, or maybe not anymore. And that is thanks to climate change. Of course, these areas would experience serious floods, at one particular point in time, and serious drought, in another. And thanks to what? The effects that we are having on water catchment areas. And in this country, we have had sayings that, water does not come from trees, because sometimes we politicize serious agenda and people say things that cannot live up to close scrutiny if you even subjected them to some simple science that's of primary school grade, because we know for sure, and as much as you know it, that it is from these trees that we have evapotranspiration and builds up, precipitation that comes back in terms of rains, and that is where rivers come from. So if we don't protect our river sources and the catchment areas, we have that imbalance, and of course climate change and global warming. The topic that's right in our sitting rooms today, and the most critical one of them, is on environmental conservation, management, protection. That is why that river is seasonal and probably is going to take so many years to flow. But the pressure that all the animals that are kept by people here and the wildlife that want to access water from that river means that already there's quite some effect on lives and livelihoods. So this is a passionate call to you. You are a lover of health, you are a lover of fitness. You must then inadvertently fall in love with environment and environmental protection. By the way, all these sites that you go to see, you must not be that careless guy who goes to hike somewhere, and because it's just fitness on one end and you're careless on the other. If you are that guy who loves to hike, those sites are beautiful and they are so attractive to go see because some other efforts are happening elsewhere to keep them and to protect them. So if you are thoughtless and you go in there and you dump your trash, or you pretty much use some stuff and you discard them in a way that is not responsible in terms of the disposal of waste or things like that, and you are the guy who's not going to be speaking actively against the bad things that you see happening in the environment, then you better not get engaged in those activities in the first place. So Team BA is the family that talks about all these things. See the river and you will probably fight tears. See the river and the small puddle of water and you're going to fight back tears, because you sure know you're going to be sitting there and having a meal and drinking fresh water, but those animals are suffering, the wildlife is suffering, and there's possibly some conflict that's brewing up in this area because of the pressure on the resources that are critical for the guys who live around here. See the interaction, and guys, I welcome you on the hot table to partake of environmental protection, conservation efforts, and of course enjoy yourself with Team BA as you check us out on all our socials at Byron Adera Big Panther on Facebook, and this conversation is gonna go on until we convince the Eskimos to buy ice from Team BA.